Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of the Blitz Breakdown Football Podcast, part of the Touchdown in the Hive series. I'm your host, Manny Smith, alongside head coach of the Austria Football Yellow Jackets, Sam Adams. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Thank you very much.
All right, first question for you, man. For most people don't know you much as a coach. Can you tell us how you got here?
Yeah, so I started my coaching career about 25 years ago. I was a student at Auburn University and started there as a kind of a graduate assistant type thing, really kind of glorified manager, bottom of the totem pole kind of guy.
I get it.
That was when Tommy Tuberville was the head coach, Noel Mazzoni was offensive coordinator, but kind of got my feet wet there. And then my last year there, a guy named Bobby Petrino came in as the offensive coordinator. Then when he moved on to take the head coaching job at the University of Louisville before the 2003 season, I went with him. Was there for a couple years at University of Louisville, and then got into high school football starting in 2004, I believe it was, at Trinity High School. It's an all-boys private school in Louisville, Kentucky. We won a state championship there in 2005 when I was offensive coordinator there, and then moved to Alabama. I was at Spain Park High School for a few years, worked under Coach John Gross, who was here at one point at Oxford and went on to be the head coach at Jacksonville State and is now on the Clemson staff. Spent a few years in Georgia at North Gwinnett High School in Swanee, Georgia. It's an Atlanta suburb. Was there for 3 years and then came back to Alabama for the 2012 season. Worked for Coach Josh Niblett at Hoover High School for 2 years. Won 2 state championships there as an assistant coach. And then became a head coach for the first time in 2014 at Hillcrest High School in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And we had a really good run there, made it semifinals one year. Had a stretch where at that point was the most games they'd ever won in that stretch of years. And then came here in the 2021 season. So been here for 4 full seasons, and this will be my 5th.
All right. What drew your take on this role here at Oxford?
I had coached one game here before against Oxford when I was at Hillcrest. We lost the game, but I think Oxford has always had a certain kind of toughness to their kids.
Absolutely.
Some years have been really talented. Some years have been kind of middle of the road talent-wise. But regardless of the talent level, I thought their teams always played with a good amount of physicality and passion and being in a school system like this definitely helps. A lot of coaches want to be in this one high school type of system, where you kind of control your resources a little bit more, as opposed to being in a county school system where there's, you're sharing your resources with 14, 15, 16 other schools. So, it's a good place for me to raise a family also. I mean, we've got my wife Kimberly and I have a 10-year-old son. He's been at DeArmonville Elementary, and he's about to start at C. Hannah next year. So, we thought overall it was a good place to live, strong football tradition, good school system, and it's a place that has a lot to offer.
Yes, sir. So what are your expectations for this upcoming season? I know it's a young team, and again.
Yeah, so, I really just hope that like most years, we're playing our very best come end of October and November, when playoff time is starting. So, we've got a good number of guys back from last year that have a lot of experience. And then at the same time, we'll have a good number of guys that are very inexperienced. So it's a mix of both. So with the inexperienced guys, sometimes there can be some inconsistency that you worry about. But my hope is that if we have to battle that part of it early in the year, by the middle of the year and end of the year, we've already kind of grown up a lot as a team, and we're peaking at the right time.
All right, how you stack up against the whole entire region again this year?
It's it's a really tough region and a really tough schedule overall, including our non-region games. Our region last year, we were fortunate enough to be the region champs with Clay Chalkville and Mountain Brook in the 2 or 3 spot and Pell City as the 4. And I kind of expect the top 4 teams to be, probably the same group of teams, but you also have, Pinson and Shades Valley that are right there fighting for a spot as well. I think whoever wins this region is it's going to be a team that's good enough to make a run at a state championship. But
Exactly.
that's I think that, playing in that type of region helps you when the playoff time rolls around because you've already seen somebody that is as good as any other team out there that you may play in the playoffs, and you're not going to be surprised. And you combine that with our non-region schedule that's really tough as well. Central Carrollton is our season opener. Those guys, they've got one of the best running backs in the nation, and Jonas Walton. Last year was a thrilling game against those guys with a 56-46 game. Then you got Moody, who was a 5A runner-up last year, and they'll be fighting for the 5A state championship again. Helena was a 6A playoff team, and then Florence as the last non-region game, and they were a 7A playoff team last year. So, there was, out of the schedule we're playing, or last year with the 14 games, we played against, I think it was 11 playoff teams. So, that's hard to do. It's hard to get it set up that way. So, but I think that's we don't really set up the schedule with the idea of we're going to do what we got to do to be 10-0. We want to be challenged as many times as we can. Obviously, we want to win all the games, but we want to be challenged during the season, knowing that you get trophies for winning the state championship, right? Yep. So, but I think all the way that our schedule is set up, I think it makes us a better football team at the end of the year.
All right, what's one game? What's one game or player that's overlooked by fans but crucial to winning?
Oh man, if you're talking about a player that's been kind of overlooked, I think a lot of times, for us, it could be any of the offensive line type guys. You know what I mean? I think most people around Oxford last year would know the names of the skill guys that score all the touchdowns and stuff like that. They'll know Mason Mims, they'll know Jalen Taylor. Keenan Britt gets a lot of publicity on the defensive side of the ball. But there's always guys that are not those kind of household names that really do their job in the shadows a little bit. And they don't get the credit deserved. They probably get too much blame when things don't go well. But playing offensive line, that's just kind of part of the territory.
Exactly, it's only part of it. How does you and your staff inspire younger athletes to one day wear that black and gold uni?
Yeah, I think that's one of the neat things about this town is the tradition that we have here. With football and really with all athletics. I think we go around every year at the beginning of the season and do the traveling pep rallies. You go to each of the feeder schools and really, you see the excitement those kids have to see our players walk in with their game day kind of gear on and all that, and it's super unique. Just being able to see that perspective. So that's part of it. But then also, in the summertime here, we'll have the camps that are put on by some of the guys that have come through here to play in the NFL.
Yep.
This with Quan Alexander and KJ Britt both did them this year. Last year, all the guys, the 6 or so guys that went on to play the NFL did a camp together. And I think when little kids, they can get on our field, on our turf, in our stadium, and then see, guys like KJ and Quan and Trey and Bobby and all those kind of guys, and they see well, I can be just like them. I can go to school where they went to school, and I can go anywhere from here. I think that's a special thing.
All right. You got any message for Oxford fans coming up this year?
No, I'm just incredibly, excited to get the thing rolling. The off season is long every year, and at some point you feel like the season will never get here. But really the off season is fast coming to an end. We've got a couple, three more competition days this week and next. Tomorrow and then 2 next week, and then we're basically in preseason camp at the end of this month. So. Season's rolling around, so I'm just looking forward to seeing everybody out at the games and having another great season.
Yes, sir. Be out there and support them.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for your time, Coach.
Thank you very much, and go Big O.